there is a huge amount of digital transformation that's going on. We
Right.
need to engage the teams through consistent and transparent communication.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I am Rajesh Joshi, and today we are thrilled to be joined by a global leader with over 32 years of experience in blending technology and business strategy to drive innovation. Having served in key leadership roles across Ford Motor Company globally, including assignments in the USA, China, and India, he is currently the Senior Director of Enterprise Digital IT Services. It is my privilege to welcome Flight Lieutenant Vasu Tiruvali Ramaswamy to the podcast. Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, Rajesh. Very good morning. I'm delighted to speak to you and share my experience with World Development Corporation in the spirit of learning through sharing. Looking forward to the conversation.
Great, sir. The pleasure is all ours. Starting this conversation, sir, true leadership blends discipline and empathy. How did your experiences in the Indian Air Force shape your leadership philosophy? And how do you strike a balance between operational discipline and fostering empathy in your teams across global roles?
Well, I'm a firm believer that each one of us have a God-given special gift.
Mhm.
For me, right from my childhood, three things fascinated me: aircrafts, cars, and computers. And I'm
Okay.
grateful that my entire professional career so far I have involved in working with these three things.
Mhm.
Coming specific to your question, I joined Indian Air Force immediately on completing my graduation in mechanical engineering. I served in Kashmir, managing the Russian OSA AK missile systems deployed to protect India's strategic assets. This was during the 1992-95 period when militancy was at its peak.
Right.
Later, I served in Chennai as officer in charge of base repair depot. One of the earliest leadership philosophy I learned thanks to my time in Indian Air Force is different strokes for different folks at different times.
Mhm.
So what I mean by that, your leadership needs to change depending on the situation and the people. Some situations will call for direct leadership and other situations will call for consultative leadership.
Mhm.
Some people will respond to a challenge trigger. Others may respond to an encouragement trigger. In defense forces, we rightfully need the hierarchical structure of
Mhm.
power. But what it's important is to learn how to use it and also achieve camaraderie with the people who work for you, which can be very powerful and effective.
Right, right. I mean, very nicely and very beautifully explained. The entire concept of leadership suddenly is, as clear as it can get. Looking at transformations, digital transformation requires human connection. How do you ensure that technology-driven transformations maintain a focus on people and processes, ensuring that no one is left behind the pursuit of innovation?
Well, in my experience, digital transformation, if it is done right, should enhance human capabilities rather than replace them.
Mhm.
However, the challenge lies in ensuring that these technology-driven transformations are inclusive and focus on people and processes. There are few ways to achieve that. Two or three I can share.
Mhm.
One, prioritizing people-centric metrics. So in this world of OKRs and KPIs, right? Develop KPIs that assess the impact of digital transformation on employees and customers, and not just financial or productivity outcomes alone.
Mhm.
Another thing is having feedback loops. Continuously gather feedback from employees and customers to adjust and improve the transformation process. Third one can be focusing on human-centered design, having a
Mhm.
user-centric approach, obsessing over the end user and having deep understanding of their needs. And sometimes these end users in certain digital transformation initiatives are our own employees.
Right, right.
One other important aspect is change management that involves an effective communication and leadership advocacy. This is especially required when there is a huge amount of digital transformation that's going on. We need
Right.
to engage the teams through consistent and transparent communication, explaining why the transformation is happening, how it will impact them and how it will also benefit them and what changes that they can expect. I would say that digital transformation, if it is not just about technology transformation, it's about people. And if it is done well, it can be very transformative for the company.
Absolutely, absolutely spot on, sir. And I cannot agree more, or all our viewers obviously cannot agree more. It is commendable how you emphasize the importance of human connection in the midst of digital transformation. Ensuring that no one is left behind while driving innovation demonstrates great leadership and foresight, and that I believe obviously stems from the fact that your experience with the Indian Air Force, and obviously all the assignments that you have handled so far and currently are handling. Which brings me to the next question: how did you build a reputation for creating high performing team across various global locations? And what key qualities and skills do you prioritize when selecting potential candidates?
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest to admit that I've been part of both great performing teams as well as teams that have failed. I have many varied experiences outside my Chennai home location, like learning how to build cars in Saarlouis, Germany at the beginning of my career in Ford, setting up a new plant IT infrastructure in Sanand, Gujarat, running of Asia Pacific Office of CIO from Shanghai, China, and running the mobility as well as information technology program offices from Michigan, US. So in my experience, creating high-performing teams across global locations is slightly different than co-located high-performing teams and require a combination of few traits. The top three that I can think of are inclusive leadership, cultural awareness, and careful talent selection. And I can put my thoughts on this, right? Inclusive leadership. It's all about, you're fostering a culture where everyone, regardless of location, feels valued and part of the team. Leaders would need to go to that extra step of proactively including the remote team members in any dialogue or activity. Extra effort is also required to ensure that decisions and plans are really understood, including the why. And it can be difficult because of, people from different cultures. Right. And that brings me to the second one, cultural awareness, meaning adaptability, open-mindedness, respect for diverse work practices and communication styles. People need to be aware of that. So that's, next thing is talent selection. It's also important to hire the right talent who can work across global teams. What are the traits one should look for? Excellent in synchronous as well as asynchronous communication because of the time zones. They should be excellent listeners. They should have a curious bent of mind and ability to operate in a flexible work schedule. One thing to remember, having a good cultural quotient and emotional quotient in addition to IQ is paramount for high-performing global teams. In my opinion, I would say India being one of the most culturally diverse country, and the fact that we celebrate diversity is the reason why so many CEOs of multinational companies are from India.
Right. Right. I mean, prioritizing key qualities like adaptability and collaboration clearly shows the depth of your leadership and vision. Automatically brings us to the most in topic, if I may say so. How do you see ESG principles and corporate governance influencing the future of innovation and sustainability in the automotive and technology sectors? And how do these frameworks help foster long-term resilience and success in such rapidly evolving industries?
In my opinion, that if you are in this part of the world, that's India, ESG is built into our Bharatiya culture, I would say. Whether it's our reverence for the Panchabhutas, earth, water, air, fire, and space, which is the environment, E of the ESG, right? Our reverence to Nari Shakti or Ardhanarishwara, and our culture of tolerance, which is part of social, and our belief in Dharma, which is governance. So we are brought up in this ESG culture. However, I would also agree that modern West has packaged ESG very well, and now there's a huge amount of awareness of these principles around the world now. Any company that is currently looking for investment or even high-profile customers have no alternate but to embrace ESG. Now to the question of how do these ESG principles drive innovation and sustainability? I drive innovation in Ford in India. I think there are three main factors that drive innovation in any organization. These are universal in my opinion. Leadership is vital. Vibrant internal culture that nurtures innovation would be the second one. And thirdly, how they perceive the external environment, both in terms of opportunities as well as threats. Uh, Innovative organizations will not see ESG principles as just a mere tick box type of an exercise, but look for opportunities to demonstrate differentiation from competition.
Right.
They will
Right.
also strategize on how to connect the ESG principles with companies' mission and vision. That way, it will make every individual in the organization aware of ESG principles and will look for new ways to deliver their objectives. Say for automotive companies, ESG principles presents opportunities right from the plants where we make the cars, the plant infrastructure,
Right.
and then the entire supply chain that is there, and eventually the products and services we offer. We can see an increasing trend of top talent is actually joining the auto companies instead of other cutting edge technology companies because of the tectonic shift that's occurring in the auto industry.
But I mean, no doubt that the ESG principles and corporate governance are invaluable, and especially in industries as dynamic as automotive and technology. Uh, would you agree on this part that it is not just, as you rightly mentioned, that it is not just a tick box item anymore, and it is something which is actually staring at you in your face, and apart from being sensitive to the environmental or the social causes, and being transparent towards governance, these are actually principles and qualities which are essential for the business in the first place to be sustainable and to grow in the future. So,
Absolutely.
so rather than looking at these as as KRA items, I believe. I mean, please correct me here. Wouldn't it be right if these are ingrained right throughout the entire value chain of the industry, of the company, of the business in itself in the first place?
So you're absolutely spot on. See, there are two ways of looking, right? Hey, ESG is there, so we would need to embrace it. That is the defensive way of looking at stuff, right?
Right.
But if you believe truly in ESG and you ensure that the right leadership ensuring the entire organization value chain, not only the internal organization, the external value chain of the organization is built, buying into the ESG principles. That's half the battle won. Then the question of what are all the easy low hanging fruits that first need to be attacked, and how then you would need to work with your industry peers, sometimes with the CIAs, to ensure that we take the necessary help from government. All that comes later, but the principles of ESG is something which the organization and the leadership in the organization should really believe in.
Right, right. So, just moving forward, I mean, your quest for knowledge obviously is apparent from all these experiences that you've already shared with us. Even after 3 decades of experience, how do you plan to continue to learn and grow as a leader? What advice would you offer to others looking to do the same?
It is my belief that age is just a number, and the experience alone does not give you wisdom. Also, in this rapidly changing world, successful leaders are the ones who can continually learn and overlay that learning with their experiences, which will need sometimes even to unlearn some of your past learning. Say, for example, the way software is developed has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. And if we don't unlearn the past methodologies, then we will become irrelevant.
Right,
It is
right.
also important that we are able to put to use what we learn. Else, our understanding will be very, very shallow, and we will forget what we learned as the time passes. So, an example, right? When I took over as the senior director for enterprise digital services for Ford, operating out of India, I was looking for a course that will help me and found that IIM Calcutta was starting off its first of its kind advanced program in digital business leadership. I immediately signed up to that after I realized that it was very relevant to the role that I was expected to lead.
Okay.
Similarly, I'm also keen to contribute to this extraordinary period of growth opportunities in India as a corporate director and leveraging my experience and expertise in this space. And that's the reason this year I completed my IICS certification for independent directors in India. And I'm
Mhm.
currently pursuing the international corporate directorship from Directors Institute.
Wow, wow, absolutely amazing. So, your approach to lifelong learning is a powerful example for others aspiring, to leadership excellence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, please, please.
What I would just add, probably just two thoughts that come to my mind.
Yes, please. Yes,
While
please.
change is at a breakneck speed in technology industry, in
Mhm.
the current period we are in, every industry is undergoing massive disruption due to digital transformation. So my suggestion to any aspiring ambitious leader would be to have a clear personal learning goal that is relevant to the job that you're currently doing or aspiring
Mhm.
to be, and ensure that you are self accountable to pursue that goal. That would be a sure shot winning path.
Absolutely, absolute pearls of wisdom there for everybody watching this podcast, sir. We would obviously love to try and get as much as knowledge, wisdom, information from you. However, for paucity of time, we have reached the last question on this podcast. How has your engagement with Directors Institute enriched your strategic vision, and what elements of your experience stand out as particularly transformative?
Well, when some of my well-wishers, they suggested to check out the Directors Institute when they came to know about my aspirations.
Mhm.
But what made me to sign up was your clear articulation of the current issues faced by senior executives, right? Lack of awareness of skill gaps, lack of international exposure, lack of right tribe or networking that's lacking,
Mhm.
lack of visibility and branding that's there. So when I went through your details of the curriculum, I was convinced that I would need to leverage this as a learning opportunity, and that's why I signed up. One thing that really stood out for me till now in my experience is your boardroom simulation. The
Mhm.
feedback that was provided post the simulation was very valuable to me.
Great, great. Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy, for such a thoughtful and inspiring discussion. Your expertise in driving innovation across global teams and leading transformative change has provided incredible institute. Wish you all the best for the future.